the hidden history black influence in Europe. What if I told you that black people have influenced European history for centuries, but much of it has been erased? Their contributions to art, music, science, and royalty have been systematically written out of the story. Today, we uncover 30 hidden facts about black influence in Europe and how history has been whitewashed. We'll journey from the sun-drenched courts of Moorish Spain to the heart of the Renaissance, from the battlefields of Napoleon to the hushed galleries of European art. Prepare to have your assumptions challenged and your understanding of European history forever changed. The Moors, architects of a golden age. Our journey begins in 711 AD with the arrival of the Moors in Spain. For nearly 800 years they ruled over Al-Andalus, a beacon of knowledge and sophistication in a Europe still emerging from the Dark Ages. The Moors weren't simply conquerors, they were builders, scholars, and patrons of the arts. Under their rule, libraries swelled with texts from across the known world, and cities like Cordoba and Granada became vibrant centers of learning and culture. The Alhambra Palace, with its intricate mosaics and soaring arches, stands as a testament to their mastery of design. The Moors introduced new agricultural techniques, transforming the Iberian Peninsula into a breadbasket. They brought advanced knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and medicine, laying the groundwork for the European Renaissance. Universities of Al-Andalus, seeds of the Renaissance. Perhaps the most enduring legacy of the Moors was their commitment to education. Across Al-Andalus, they established over 17 universities, institutions that would serve as models for the first European universities. These centers of learning attracted scholars from across the world, drawn by the reputation of Moorish scholarship. Imagine Cordoba in the 10th century, its streets bustling with students and scholars engaged in lively debate. It was here, in the libraries and classrooms of Al-Andalus, that the seeds of the European Renaissance were sown. Beyond the battlefield, black Africans in European courts. The presence of black Africans in Europe extended far beyond the battlefields and centers of learning. Across the continent, black individuals rose to positions of power and influence, serving as diplomats, advisors, and high-ranking officials in European courts. These individuals were not merely tokens of diversity, they were respected figures who navigated the complexities of courtly life. Their stories force us to re-examine our understanding of race and power in pre-modern Europe. Saint Maurice, a black Roman in the Christian pantheon. The veneration of Saint Maurice, a black Roman general martyred for his faith in the 3rd century, offers a glimpse into the complexities of black representation in European history. Across Europe, from Germany to Switzerland, statues and paintings depict Saint Maurice as a black man, a testament to his enduring legacy. St. Maurice's story reminds us that the black presence in Europe predates the transatlantic slave trade and that history is rarely black and white. The Blaaman black sailors in the Viking Age. The image of a Viking warrior, often depicted as blonde and blue-eyed, is deeply ingrained in our collective imagination, but the historical reality is far more nuanced. Norse sagas mention Blaamen, black Vikings who sailed the seas and raided alongside their Scandinavian counterparts. Their presence in the Viking world speaks to the interconnectedness of the medieval world, where trade routes spanned continents and cultures intermingled. Queen Charlotte, an African ancestry on the British throne. The reign of King George III is etched in the annals of British history, but less well known is the African ancestry of his wife, Queen Charlotte. While some historians debate the extent of her heritage, portraits of the Queen with her distinctly African features suggest a lineage that can be traced back to the Iberian Peninsula and the legacy of the Moors. Queen Charlotte's story forces us to confront the often ignored presence of black individuals in the heart of the British monarchy. Her story, once shrouded in speculation and rumor, is now emerging from the shadows, challenging our assumptions about race and identity in one of the world's most enduring institutions. Chapter 7. Alessandro de' Medici, the first Duke of Florence, cut a striking figure in the opulent world of Renaissance Italy. Born to a black servant and a member of the powerful Medici family, Alessandro's mixed-race heritage was no secret. His rule, though often overshadowed by the intrigue and violence of the era, offers a fascinating glimpse into the complexities of race and power in Renaissance Europe. His legacy serves as a reminder that the Renaissance was not a solely European phenomenon, but one shaped by influences from across the globe. Across Europe, from Poland to France, the image of the Black Madonna holds a place of reverence in Catholic iconography. These striking depictions of Mary and the infant Jesus, their skin rendered in dark hues, offer a powerful testament to the influence of African traditions on European Christianity. Her dark complexion reflects the diversity of the early Christian world and the influence of African and Middle Eastern traditions on the development of Christian iconography. In the 18th century, a young man named Anton Wilhelm Amo arrived in Germany from West Africa. Sold into slavery as a child, Amo's intellect and thirst for knowledge set him apart. He would go on to become the first African to receive a doctorate from a European university, challenging prevailing notions about race and intelligence. His writings, infused with both European Enlightenment thought and African philosophical traditions, offer a unique perspective on the intellectual currents of his time. The French Revolution, a tumultuous period of upheaval and change, was also a time when individuals from marginalized backgrounds could rise to prominence. One such figure was Thomas Alexandre Dumas, the son of a black slave and a French nobleman. Dumas, known for his bravery and swordsmanship, rose through the ranks of the French army to become one of Napoleon's most trusted generals. His life and achievements highlight the role of non-European individuals in shaping this pivotal moment in history. His legacy, though often overshadowed by that of his son, the famed novelist Alexandre Dumas, is a testament to the complexities of race and identity in revolutionary France. The art of the Renaissance is often celebrated for its realism and beauty, but a closer look reveals a more complex and troubling story. In numerous instances, black figures in Renaissance paintings have been whitened over time, their features subtly altered to conform to European ideals of beauty. This practice of artistic erasure speaks volumes about the evolving attitudes towards race in Europe. The whitening of black figures in art reflects this shift, a visual manifestation of the growing racial divide. The origins of European classical music are often traced back to the courts and churches of Renaissance Italy. But beneath the surface of these familiar melodies lies a hidden influence, the rhythms and musical traditions of Africa and the Middle East. This musical dialogue, carried across continents by traders, diplomats, and musicians, infused European music with new sounds and rhythms, shaping its development in subtle but profound ways. Shakespeare's tragic play, Othello, is a story of love, jealousy, and betrayal. But the character of Othello himself, a Moorish general in the Venetian army, has sparked debate for centuries. Evidence suggests that Shakespeare drew inspiration from accounts of black diplomats and courtiers who visited the English court. Othello reflects the growing presence of black individuals in Elizabethan society, their stories woven into the fabric of English life. The history of European classical music is incomplete without acknowledging the contributions of black musicians. From the 18th century onwards, black musicians graced the courts of Europe, their virtuosity captivating audiences and challenging prevailing notions about race and artistic talent. These musicians were composers, innovators, and teachers who helped shape the evolution of European music. Look closely at the canvases of European masters, and you'll find a hidden history, the presence of black models, their images captured for posterity. These individuals, often relegated to the margins of paintings as servants or attendants, were more than just faces in the crowd. They were members of European society, their lives and stories intertwined with those of their white counterparts. This act of historical erasure speaks volumes about the evolving attitudes towards race and representation in European art. The history of black people in Europe is not a separate strand, a footnote, or an addendum. It is woven into the very fabric of the continent, from the architecture of Spain to the music of Mozart. Yet for centuries, this history has been obscured, dismissed, or deliberately erased. This video is just a glimpse into a vast and complex history, a history that challenges our assumptions and forces us to confront uncomfortable truths. But it is a history that needs to be told, for it is only by acknowledging the past in all its complexity that we can truly understand the present. The journey to uncover and reclaim this hidden history is ongoing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel Africarized for more intriguing videos about African history, Black history, the African diaspora, and the future of Africa. This video is sponsored by Fitness Lifestyle, a Herbalife distributor dedicated to helping people manage weight and improve health. Whether you want to lose weight, build muscle, detox, clear stretch marks, pimples, acne, or regrow hair, click the link below to order now. Interested in joining Herbalife? Become a distributor to earn extra income, enjoy discounts, and help others achieve their health goals. Contact Fitness Lifestyle via the link in the description to get started. I bet you didn't know about the hidden black history in Europe. Celebrate African heritage with Africarized. Explore our collection of inspired apparel, home decor, and accessories. Wear pride, embrace culture, and support creativity. Shop now using the link below. In this chapter, we delve into the systematic erasure of black influence in European history. For centuries, a narrative has been carefully constructed, a narrative that often overlooks or minimizes the contributions of black people to the very fabric of European societies. This isn't just about forgotten stories, it's about a deliberate distortion of the past, one that has shaped our understanding of race, identity, and belonging. But the truth has a way of resurfacing, and we're here to uncover it. If you find this content valuable, please like this video to help Africarized reach more people. Imagine a portrait, a king in his finery, his regal attire, the opulent surroundings, all speak of power and authority. Now imagine that king was black, his skin dark, his features distinct, yet his presence just as commanding. You might not have to imagine very hard. History is replete with such figures, though their stories are often hidden. Across Europe, in grand palaces and stately homes, such portraits exist. They hang silently, often overlooked, their true stories untold, but often their subjects have been altered, their skin tones lightened, their features subtly shifted, all to fit a narrative that couldn't accommodate a black king. This deliberate act of whitewashing distorts our understanding of history. This whitewashing extends beyond individual portraits. It permeates historical records, art, and even literature. Historical records, meticulously kept for centuries, suddenly go silent when it comes to the presence of black communities. Pages are missing, entries are erased, and entire chapters of history are left blank. Statues, once proud symbols of power and influence, are destroyed, their stories lost or worse, repurposed, their black subjects reimagined as something else entirely. These acts of destruction are not random, they are calculated efforts to erase a people from history. Museums, repositories of our shared history, hold vast collections of African art and artifacts. These objects, often displayed without context, tell a fragmented story. Yet how often do we stop to question their provenance? How did these artifacts come to be here, and what stories do they carry with them? Many of these objects were once the possessions of black Europeans, individuals woven into the very fabric of their societies, their stories now relegated to the shadows. These artifacts are not just relics, they are pieces of lives lived, of histories shared. Consider the case of Alessandro de' Medici, Duke of Florence in the 16th century. A man of mixed heritage, his rule was marked by both brilliance and controversy. His portraits, now often depicting a man of ambiguous racial heritage, tell a story of deliberate obfuscation. The true nature of his identity has been clouded by centuries of alteration and reinterpretation. Or look at the fate of statues in former colonial capitals, where black figures were toppled, their presence deemed an affront to a rewritten history. These acts of erasure are not just physical but symbolic, representing a broader attempt to rewrite the past. The erasure is systematic, a deliberate attempt to erase the black presence from the story of Europe. It is a rewriting of history that seeks to present a homogeneous narrative, devoid of diversity. but the evidence remains hidden in plain sight, waiting to be rediscovered. These hidden artifacts and documents are the keys to unlocking a more inclusive and accurate history. The 18th and 19th centuries saw the rise of a particularly insidious form of racism, scientific racism. This was a period marked by rapid advancements in science and technology, but also by a dark undercurrent of racial prejudice masquerading as objective science. Intellectuals and scientists of the time began to use their newfound knowledge to justify and perpetuate racial hierarchies, embedding these harmful ideologies into the very fabric of society. No longer content with simply ignoring or minimizing the black presence, this new ideology sought to create a hierarchy of races, with Europeans firmly at the top. These racial hierarchies were depicted in various forms, from charts and graphs to elaborate portraits, all designed to reinforce the supposed superiority of the white race. This pseudo-scientific approach gave a veneer of legitimacy to deeply ingrained prejudices, making them harder to challenge and dismantle. Pseudo-scientific theories were concocted using skull measurements and skin pigmentation to create a false narrative of black inferiority. These so-called scientists claimed that the size and shape of one's skull could determine intelligence and moral character, a theory now thoroughly debunked but once widely accepted. Skin color was similarly used as a misguided metric of human worth, with darker skin tones unfairly associated with negative traits. These theories, disseminated through textbooks and scientific journals, permeated every level of society, justifying colonialism and slavery. Educational materials of the time were rife with these biased ideas, teaching generations of students to view the world through a distorted lens of racial superiority. This widespread dissemination ensured that these harmful beliefs were not confined to the academic elite, but reached the general populace, influencing public opinion and policy. African contributions to mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy were conveniently ignored. The rich intellectual traditions of African civilizations were either downplayed or attributed to other cultures, erasing the true origins of many scientific advancements. This deliberate omission served to further the narrative of African inferiority, suggesting that black people were incapable of intellectual achievements. Thinkers like Anton Wilhelm Amo, a Ghanaian philosopher who taught in German universities in the 18th century, were written out of history, their ideas attributed to European contemporaries. Amo's work in philosophy and law was groundbreaking, yet his contributions were systematically erased or miscredited, a fate that befell many black intellectuals of the time. This erasure not only deprived these individuals of their rightful place in history, but also deprived future generations of diverse intellectual role models. The contributions of black soldiers who fought in European wars, often in defense of the very empires that oppressed them, were minimized or erased entirely. These soldiers displayed immense bravery and loyalty, yet their sacrifices were seldom acknowledged. Instead, their stories were overshadowed by those of their white counterparts, further entrenching the narrative of black inferiority. Their names are absent from the memorials and history books, their sacrifices forgotten. War memorials across Europe often fail to mention the black soldiers who fought and died alongside their white comrades. This omission is a stark reminder of the selective memory that shapes our understanding of history, one that often excludes the contributions of marginalized groups. Even today, the legacy of this scientific racism lingers. Modern scientific journals and educational materials still grapple with the remnants of these outdated and harmful ideas. While significant progress has been made in debunking and discrediting scientific racism, its shadow continues to affect contemporary discussions on race and intelligence. Major museums filled with treasures from across the globe often fail to acknowledge the true origins of their collections. These institutions, while celebrating human achievement, frequently overlook the context in which these artifacts were acquired. The stories of exploitation and colonialism that accompany many of these items are seldom told, perpetuating a sanitized version of history. The Benin bronzes, for example, looted from Nigeria during a British military expedition, are still displayed in European museums, a stark reminder of the enduring legacy of colonialism. These artifacts, Masterpieces of African art are often presented without acknowledging the violent circumstances of their acquisition. This ongoing display of looted treasures serves as a poignant symbol of the unresolved issues surrounding colonialism and its lasting impact on our world. Chapter 3. Erasure in the Modern Era. You might think that in the 21st century, we'd be beyond such blatant attempts to erase history. However, the reality is far more complex and troubling. Despite the advancements in technology and the global interconnectedness of our societies, the erasure of Black history and contributions remains a persistent issue. This isn't just a relic of the past. It's a contemporary problem that continues to shape perceptions and narratives today, and yet the struggle for recognition continues. Black communities across Europe are still fighting for their rightful place in the historical narrative. This ongoing battle is not just about the past, it's about the present and the future. It's about ensuring that future generations grow up with a more accurate and inclusive understanding of history. The media, often guilty of perpetuating harmful stereotypes, frequently fails to acknowledge the Black lineage of prominent figures. This omission is not just a matter of oversight, it's a deliberate act that reinforces a skewed version of history. By ignoring the contributions of Black individuals, the media perpetuates a narrative that marginalizes and diminishes their impact. Films and television shows supposedly reflecting the diversity of European societies still struggle to represent Black experiences authentically. Despite the growing awareness and calls for diversity, the entertainment industry often falls short. The stories that do get told are frequently filtered through a lens that prioritizes Eurocentric perspectives, leaving Black voices and experiences on the periphery. When Black stories are told, they're often relegated to the margins, focusing on narratives of slavery or immigration rather than the full spectrum of human experience. This narrow focus not only limits the understanding of Black history but also reinforces stereotypes. It fails to capture the richness and diversity of Black lives, reducing them to a single story of struggle and hardship. The achievements of Black European scientists, artists, and thinkers are often uncelebrated, their contributions overlooked in favor of a Eurocentric narrative. This erasure is not just a disservice to those individuals, but to society as a whole. By ignoring these contributions, we lose out on a fuller, richer understanding of our collective history and the advancements that have shaped our world. We're told that Europe is a white civilization, a construction that ignores centuries of Black presence and influence. This narrative is not only inaccurate but also harmful. It creates a false dichotomy that separates Black history from European history, when in reality they are deeply intertwined. The contributions of Black individuals have been integral to the development of European societies, and it's time that this reality is acknowledged. But across Europe, Black communities are reclaiming their history. They are challenging the dominant narratives and demanding recognition for their ancestors and their contributions. This movement is not just about correcting the past, it's about shaping the future. It's about creating a more inclusive and accurate historical record that reflects the true diversity of European societies. They're demanding that their stories be told, that their ancestors be recognized, and that their contributions to the tapestry of European culture be acknowledged. This is a powerful and necessary movement that seeks to rectify centuries of erasure and marginalization. It's about giving voice to those who have been silenced and ensuring that their stories are an integral part of our shared history. This isn't about rewriting history, it's about expanding it, about creating a more inclusive and accurate understanding of the past. It's about recognizing that history is not a single, unchanging narrative, but a complex tapestry of diverse experiences and contributions. By including Black history in the broader historical narrative, we enrich our understanding of the past and create a more just and equitable future. It's about recognizing that Black history is European history, and that the two are inextricably intertwined. This recognition is not just about the past, it's about the present and the future. It's about creating a world where all histories are valued and all contributions are acknowledged. By doing so, we can build a more inclusive and equitable society for future generations. Outro, as we've seen, black influence in Europe is undeniable, but history has tried to erase it. From whitewashed portraits to the omission of black narratives in our textbooks, the evidence of black contributions has been systematically suppressed. But the truth has a way of coming to light. By uncovering these lost stories and celebrating the achievements of black Europeans throughout history, we can challenge the traditional narrative and build a more inclusive understanding of the past. Like this video to help Africarized reach more people and ensure these stories are told. Which of these facts surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments.